Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Kengan Omega video. Today, I'm going to be making my predictions for the winners of the Berserker Bowl. I'm going to be theorizing about who's going to be winning which matchups, and of course, who is ultimately going to be the champion of the tournament. Now, before I get into today's video, as always, if you haven't already, you should definitely be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future Kengan Omega uploads, and you should also be sure to leave a like on the video. It helps boost us up in the algorithm. I'd like to try and hit at least 50 likes on today's video. Also, shout out to Office Pool Stop for having a bracket generator thing. I tried a bunch of different sites, and a lot of them are not even remotely what I was looking for. This seems pretty useful for basically any sort of tournament thing, so free shout out to these guys, I guess. Now, I didn't do this video 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago now, because there was the possibility that they were going to mix up who would be going when, which they ended up doing last chapter. Why didn't I do this video earlier? Because I didn't feel like it. Hell yeah. And besides, it's maybe a good idea to do it like right before the next chapter comes out. I don't know. So anywho, we start off with, frankly, the most interesting match of the tournament. The one that everyone was hoping was going to be the championship match. But hey, we're getting it anyway, and they're both presumably going to be at 100% right from the get-go. So Cosmo versus Saw Pang is probably going to be really fucking good. There is the question of whether or not Cosmo's grappling would be enough to overcome Saw, who has very serious knockout power. I'd say they're actually a very tough matchup, because for the most part, I think Cosmo's grappling and chokes would be able to negate Saw's durability, but Saw's strikes are just so powerful that if he landed a major blow against Cosmo, it would probably end up being some kind of knockout blow. Given the two's capabilities, I think Cosmo, with the zone and his improved striking and other skills, you know, he's spread out a bit from essentially just being a dedicated grappler. I think Cosmo will ultimately win his fight very high difficulty. Oh, I forgot I have to switch it to run. There you go. So, there's our first winner. Unfortunately, Saw Pang will probably be eliminated in the first round of the tournament, but I imagine his fight with Cosmo is going to be really goddamn good. Next, we have Mark Myers versus Rijito. Listen, do I need to go in depth about this? I don't think I really do. Hopefully, Mark gives a good fight, but I think it's pretty clear that Rijito's going to end up winning. Just kind of given their difference in rank, and the way we've been kind of building up Rijito's development as a character and a fighter, I can't imagine him losing here to Mark. Next we have Koga versus Leonardo Silva, and I mean, let's be really real here again. Unless Sandro is gonna throw us for a real fucking loop, Koga's gonna win this one. Though I imagine it'll be a somewhat difficult fight, as I imagine all of the supernovas are probably relatively close to each other in terms of power. But, you know, we'll have to find out. Koga's primarily a striker. As far as we can tell, Leonardo is mostly a grappler. So we'll see who has a greater weakness to who. Anyway, last matchup from the first round. Once again, unless Sandro's gonna throw us for a big loop, I imagine Ryuki's going to be winning this one. But who knows? I mean, I wouldn't complain about Adam getting a surprise win over Ryuki, especially given how Ryuki's kind of been turning out lately. Now we get into the next round of the tournament, the middle round, and this one I think is probably a little bit easier to guess. Once again, though, Cosmo, I think, is the superior fighter, but we do have to keep in mind that Razor's Edge seems like a very hard counter to grapplers. All he has to do is pretty much touch you, just get a grip on you, and he's going to rip you open. And that's a very serious weakness for Cosmo, as we saw from his fight with Koga. So, I imagine Rijito could give Cosmo a very tough time, and I do see a scenario in which Rijito could win, but I'm thinking it's probably more likely that Cosmo wins. Honestly, the more I think about it now in my head, it becomes more and more of like a 50-50, especially since after his loss to Falcon, Rijito would probably be much more wary of ground grappling and such. But I think ultimately Cosmo is still the superior fighter, assuming that he hasn't been beaten to shit from his fight with Sapang, and Rijito isn't in pretty decent condition. I imagine Cosmo is going to win this one. Next, our rival battle, the most story-significant fight in the tournament, which is fortunately not the championship match, which I'm very happy about. Otherwise, I feel like pretty much anyone losing would be a bygone conclusion, and it would just be Koga and Ryuki kind of sweeping the tournament, unless we were going to get hit with another Annihilation Tournament twist. I don't know if we will. Actually, I kind of think we're going to, maybe, but not the same amount of twisting as we got thanks to the Beard God. Ryuki has shown off a lot more of how powerful he is. Ryuki's obviously much more lethal, but I think the way that we have been building this rivalry between Koga and Ryuki and the way that Koga has played into Ryuki's development as a character, I think for plot reasons at least, Koga's going to win. Now we find ourselves at the championship of the Berserker Bowl. The battle between Cosmo and Koga. Seemingly, Koga's now on a fairly relative level to Cosmo, at least probably Cosmo during the Annihilation Tournament. Cosmo is probably kind of beat to shit by this point, if we're being really honest here. But Koga has probably also had some really difficult fights. He would have also fought someone that was fairly similar to Cosmo, but presumably lesser, in the form of Leonardo Silva. This one is very tough. As much as I would like for Cosmo to win, I don't know if he will. Because once again, I think the entire tournament's taking place on the same day, I believe. Even if it's not, the injuries and fatigue would still be playing a factor. Koga will probably not be in great shape after his fight with Ryuki. I imagine Cosmo will be in a rough shape as well. Who is the bigger prodigy? Who has more just innate aptitude for martial arts? I think the most important bit for Koga's character is honestly going to be his fight with Ryuki, and thus, narratively speaking, it would be a-okay for Cosmo to win. There would be no issues with that, and then we still kind of get the classic Kengan trope of, oh, the MC actually loses the tournament to the guy that's been really strong ever since the start. So I'll be a little optimistic here, and we'll say that my Cosmo is going to be the champion of the Berserker Bowl. That was actually a really tough decision. I can still really see it going either way. That honestly applies for quite a few of these fights, actually. You know, once we get past the first round of the tournament, I could really see anyone winning their respective fights, which is good, because you want a level of unpredictability when it comes to a tournament. That's what makes it interesting. It's not very interesting when you know who is going to be making their way through the bracket. That was part of what made the Annihilation Tournament interesting, especially when you had Kuroki going up against some people. It was just big subversions, plot-relevant characters losing just because this random karate hobo guy is better than them. He's just stronger. Hopefully, we'll be getting some more stuff like that in this tournament. You know, a little bit of a return to form. I know a lot of people think that's what Sandro's trying to do with this Berserker Bowl, just trying to go back to what he did well in Ashura. Because, well, he did it really well in Ashura, and the other stuff he hasn't really done so well. So, hopefully the Berserker Bowl is going to be pretty good. And even if every single prediction I've put on this list is wrong, I'm not really going to care so long as the tournament's good. So with that, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I do Kengan Omega chapter reactions and reviews every week that we get a new chapter. If you enjoy discussing Kengan Omega with other people, or you just enjoy the content I produce on this channel, I highly suggest you check out my Discord server. I have a link to that down in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Take care.